going to college and understanding what you learn in college has really nothing to do with the entrepreneurial world. It has nothing to do with going out and building wealth.
To be honest, their coffee isn't very good, but they have that customer service, that sales that you get every single time that you walk in. I wanted everyone to like me. I would stay up late at night because an order would go south and something would go wrong, and I would be a pushover, and I'd make promises that were really hard to keep because I really wanted just everything to go smoothly.
If somebody comes to you for price, they're likely to leave you for price. My business card is almost $4 a pop, but it creates an image. It gives a wow effect.
For 20% more, 50% more, you're going to get a 10x better product.
Welcome to Sales and Cigars, the podcast for entrepreneurs where the only smoke we blow is cigar smoke. I'm your host, Walter Crosby with Helix Sales Development, and this episode is brought to you by the Sales Integrator. Crush your sales obstacles with the Sales Integrator. If you run a business, you will have to, or you have already ordered promotional materials and swag, either for your team or for trade shows or other marketing purposes. My guest, Eric Turney, runs the Monterey Company, and we talk about his journey of falling back into sales and sales management. We get into the mistakes that business owners make with buying promotional products and how to pick a vendor. We talk about some of the challenges that occurred during COVID and with tariffs. So Eric's in the warehouse, and they were pretty busy that day. So when we recorded, there's a little banging, taping going on in the background. So it's a little noisier than it normally is, and we try to tamp it down, but you're going to hear a little noise. So appreciate your patience. So go grab a cigar, a cocktail, and strap in for another fun episode of Sales and Cigars. Thanks. So Eric, welcome to Sales and Cigars. I appreciate you taking some time out of your busy day.
Excited.
Awesome. So let's jump in. I like to ask a weird question out of the box, but is there a book that you either reread or gift a lot to people that you think is important?
Yeah, no, great question. I mean, for entrepreneurs and in business, my go-to, especially, and it can really pertain to anyone, is Rich Dad Poor Dad by, oh man, now I can't remember his name. Starts with Kawasaki, yeah. I mean, the beginner entry level, awesome book. I gifted it. I was like 19, and that completely changed my perspective on how to generate wealth over time and the difference between the educated guy. I was never good at school myself. School wasn't, I went to college, but it never, I'd study just as hard as the second guy, and I get a C and he get an A. So school just wasn't never my jam. So that book really, really drove it home. I love the Alex Hormozi books for some new reading. He, $100 Million Lead just came out with a new one too that I'm kind of excited. $100 Million Offer was another one.
Did you go to his launch last Saturday?
I didn't. We were at the lake or something, but I got marketed it a ton though. I mean, he pushed that heavy.
Yeah. It's almost like him and Brunson are doing the same, they are following the same playbook, but
oh yeah.
Yeah. It gets a little much.
I agree.
And you get the emails even though you buy something. So I don't know. Both of those books, they're wildly different, but I think going to college and understanding what you learn in college has really nothing to do with the entrepreneurial world. It has nothing to do with going out and building wealth. I think it's just a box that people have to check. And I think that's becoming less and less of an importance. We paid for my daughter to go to college, and I think she got the same thing out of it that I did. It helps you grow up, helps you learn how to play nice with others, helps you realize that you're just a cog in the wheel unless you do something different. And
absolutely.
So she doesn't like being a cog in the wheel. I can tell you that.
Show some commitment too. I always like tell my kids that, like, you grinded, you finished it out.
You showed up for a period of time doing certain things that you were asked to do, and you did them at a certain level. But beyond that, right?
Yeah.
What did you learn? Like I as an economics major, I can read the Wall Street Journal. I understand the relationship between interest rates and how that works in the economy, money supply, but that doesn't come up a lot in everyday life.
Yeah, that's true.
But so let's talk a little bit about. We'll get into what your company does and what you do, but talk a little bit about your journey to get from where you were to where you are. That's always an interesting piece for me.
Yeah, no, I'd love to, and we'll keep it brief too. I went to school at Oregon State. Beavers, go Beavers.
Oh, Beavers. Yeah.
Yeah, and road construction for a while, for a couple of years. Completely different than anything that I went to college, and I liked it because it was bringing in good paychecks. I liked working hard. I like building something has always been attractive to me. Making something that even with a team and you have a purpose. I love that. But then 2009 hit, and they laid off everyone in the company that didn't have a wife and a kid. Yeah, all the single guys were the first guys to go, and like, which I totally respect. Like that made sense. There was no job, there was no work. They were just working to get by. But I went back to college after that, thinking that was going to be the answer, and I went back to physical therapy. I thought hey, I'm going to do physical therapy, and then I got to my senior year, and I sat and did I like shadowed essentially a physical therapist, and the amount of touching that
Yeah,
I can't do this. I can't do this. And mentoring him, and we were putting these stim pads on old ladies and all of their whole body. I'll leave it at that. I go, this isn't for me. And my wife, who was then my girlfriend at the time, we were having a kid, my first child, Grayson. And I was like, I need to get a job. And I looked for sales jobs, and I got offered a job here at the Monterey Company. And then there was a car dealership as well, like a Toyota dealership, to sell Toyotas. And I connected really well with the owner here, the founder, Paul Stark, during the interview. And he was like, yeah, I want to scale. We want to go big. And if you can sell, let's do it. And I had no sales experience, and I read books, learned on the fly. And from there, sales manager, we've grown a lot since then. And then almost 2 years ago, me and a couple other employees that worked here, we ended up buying the company from Paul, because he scaled and then retired. So
that's why you start a business, so you can exit. Right?
Exactly. Yep.
So you went into sales, and the PT thing cracks me up because I mean there's a demand for those people right now, right? But the idea of dealing with consumers, right, people, and to deal with them where you got to touch them, ask them questions, deal with their bitching and complaining, and they're in real pain, right? And they got to get better, but yuck.
Yeah.
Like, but so you got into sales and you fell backwards in it, like most of us have in our life, and it's a relatively low bar of entry. So you read books, you did things, you tried things. Like what was the thing that you remember that helped you go forward with some confidence?
Yeah, I remember. So I had a buddy that was the hot shot car salesman. He was the one who he was recruiting me to work at Toyota. And he just sold more than anyone else there. And he made really good money doing that. And we would go fishing, regularly, like a couple times a month. We'd have our Sundays where we'd go fishing, and he broke it down for me a lot of what he does, the word tracks that he uses, the repetition that he uses, the he brought up like here in Oregon, there's Dutch Brothers everywhere.
What's a Dutch Brothers?
So Dutch Brothers is a coffee stand. It's a coffee shop, and the customer service there is unreal. They you get the same every time. They're super bubbly, super nice. They always ask you how your day's going. It's the same thing, and they've blown up here in the Pacific Northwest. They're everywhere, and there's coffee shops all over the place. But why did they blow up in the last 10 years? And to be honest, their coffee isn't very good. It kind of sucks, to be honest. But they have that that customer service, that sales that you get every single time that you walk in, and it's by far better than anywhere else. So being able to bottle that and repeat that and give every customer the same experience, that's how I try to train my reps now, is give them an awesome experience at the end of the day, and they'll keep coming back.
So how many salespeople you have now?
5.
So, and you're managing them?
Yeah.
So being a competent, good salesperson, and knowing how to talk to customers and build that consultative sale and treat people right has very little to do with being a sales manager, right? Because
Totally
they're two different skill sets. Sometimes as a manager, you have to sell to your salespeople, but the other part of it is really being able to coach your salespeople. So the idea about being a great salesperson and being a great sales manager are mutually exclusive skills. And when I had that happen to me a couple of times, it was like, holy crap, what am I going to do? The audience has heard me tell my story about, like, I got a promotion. I told my wife about it, and she's like, well, that's great. You're going to manage people. Have you ever managed anybody before? Because you could barely manage yourself, right? And getting to that point, like, so talk a little bit about that transition for you, going from being competent sales guy, having success, to trying to get other reps to do what you're doing.
It's been a challenge. I don't know if I keep learning in that realm, because you're 100% correct. It is vastly different. You nailed it on the head, though. I mean, you are selling to your sales reps. You're building motivation with them. We have morning meetings where we build motivation, go over things, but it's tricky for sure, because there's I feel like a lot of salesmanship is either you got it or you don't at the end of the day. I think over time you can train someone to get it, but there's like a point to where how much time and money do you want to invest into someone to get it?
Well, so if they don't have the desire and commitment, right, the will to sell is what we call it. If they don't have that, you're not gonna get them over the hump. And then the next thing that we find is what's going on between their ears, right? The old joke on the golf course, the longest distance on a golf course is the 8 inches between your ears, right? And that applies to sales. Like, they can get in their own way. They think that everybody's got to like them, right? Their customers have to love them, right? They have to be respected, right? They have to be likable, but you want respect. They have trouble talking about money. So, if your average order is $1,000 and they think $100 is a lot of money, they're going to struggle, talking about money. And if they buy things by doing a ton of research, they're going to think that's fine, right? I need a couple of styles of baseball hats, and then they want to look at 37 different styles and see samples and colors, right? That's normal for somebody that likes to do a lot of research. But for a guy like me, please just, tell me what I need so I don't have to waste a lot of time. I don't do a lot of research when I buy. I'm an easy mark when it comes to sales.
Me too. Me always. I like that you said that, because I fell into that pitfall a lot too early on. I wanted everyone to like me. I would stay up late at night because an order would go south and something would go wrong, and I would be a pushover, and I'd make promises that were really hard to keep. And because I really wanted just everything to go smoothly, but at the end of the day, it's just respect. Is if it's okay to say no at times. It's okay to just give them, hey, these are your options. That's what we can do.
It's asking enough questions, right? And if we don't have sales training, we don't have that support system, and we're not getting coaching from our sales manager, right? And usually when you start out, you're kind of left on your own. So you got to try to figure it out. But no is something that everybody needs to learn to say, right? Like, if it feels like that customer's going to be a pain in the butt, and they're going to always be looking for the deal, and they're always looking to squeeze a little bit more out of you. Is that really what we want? Is that the model customer? I don't know. Is it worth it? Like, I'd rather have a customer that values the relationship and the experience and the knowledge and the guidance we provide, as opposed to somebody that wants to fight about nickels. Because if somebody comes to you for price, they're likely to leave you for price. And that kind of brings us to an interesting, because how do you describe your business, right? For the audience, what's your description?
Yeah, we're a customized merch company. Merchandise for promotional products is kind of it's kind of morphing into the branded merch, customized merch company. So hats, keychains, t-shirts,
Water bottles.
Yeah. And we're fully e-commerce as well as lead generation online. So customers from all over the United States, Canada, reach out to us and find us.
So, I had a customer once who they were a promotional product company. They made some signs, but they're a promotional product company. And I always tried to get them to think of themselves as a marketing company, that they were supporting the marketing effort of the brand, right? And they were everything had to align with the brand and the standards. And I think, you're using the term merch and promotional, which immediately gives people an idea of what it is you do, right? And when you think of merch, you're not thinking about, at least in my mind, it's not like some cheesy little trinket, right? It's something that represents the brand, and it's something you buy at a concert for one of your people, or you're following somebody and they have merch, and you. So when you're talking to a salesperson and you're trying to get them on board and get them to be successful, are you giving them ways to talk about your products that align with the customers that they're going? Are you going after particular niches? How do you drive your business?
Over the years, our niche really has fell into more of government, military, public service people. We tend to fall into that category a lot. They military for different patches and gear and everything. For government, they'll do racing medals and events, and they want swag for their events. So how we talk to them, how I train them, because it's most of the time our customer profile is a marketing executive or an assistant to the marketing executive or an event coordinator, someone like that who's been tasked the job from their boss. Typically, hey, we need this for our event, or we need this for XYZ. So we try to get off their plate as easy and as simple and as friendly as possible.
So you're not always talking to the person that can say yes. You're talking with the person that, like, hey, we need to have 1,000 of these things, and I want it to be of a quality, right? But they have no idea what it is that they need, right?
No idea.
Typically,
yeah, no clue. So a lot of training with customer. And then you build a relationship with them, and they come back every year. So it's wonderful. I mean, share pictures of our kids and all kinds. But yeah, that's generally where we go with it. It's typically not the decision maker. It's a lot of times and a lot of times they'll give us a budget to, hey, this is our budget. This is what we got to work with. We need the best bang for our buck. And you go, okay, That's perfect.
So you're teaching your salespeople to understand what the budget is, and then to start to dial into what they want to represent the brand, and what the event might be, what's appropriate for their attendees, what's going to get them juiced up to want to participate in that event again, right? Those are the kind of things you're doing.
Yeah, exactly. And upsell tactics too. If you're doing medals for an event, a couple t-shirts on it, we'll give you a deal if you do both. Stickers, why don't we pass out stickers for your event? They're so cheap, they're 30 cents a piece. So yeah, exactly.
Where are you sourcing your salespeople? I'm just kind of curious as to.
Right here, we're in Bend, Oregon, so they're all local. We have a couple of them work remotely, but they were all based here in Oregon.
Okay, all right. So one of the things that your company did was grow from about $1 million to $5 million in a short period of time. Is that accurate? How did you do that? What's the secret sauce?
Yeah, there's a lot to unpack in that one. I didn't do it alone. We had a really good team behind us, from marketing to social media to the sales team as well. And when I first came on, the sales process there wasn't a sales process. It was, here's a phone, we'll send you leads, bring in the money, or walk. And so really developing a sales process that is malleable too was big for us. And we talk about like our core 4 a lot here, which is call your leads early, text them as much as possible, get them a quote as soon as possible, and get them an art proof as soon as possible. So we try to essentially move them down the funnel as fast as we can, because we found that most of these marketing coordinators and event managers, if you're friendly, if you're the first one that they talk to, your price sounds reasonable, they go with you. So being the first and friendly is so big for us. But and in the marketing world, the founder, his name's Paul Stark. He just concentrated on SEO. Just locked himself in his house and just built pages and really built our online presence in Google. And that was a major part of it, was seeing our leads go from 200 a month, 300 a month, to 500, to 1,000, to 1,500, seeing our leads and the quality of them just continue to move up. That, at the end of the day, that was huge.
So you're still enjoying some of the benefits of the brand recognition, but at the end of the day, you got to take a lead and call them quickly, understand what it is they're looking for, build some rapport, and get them what they need quickly, right? Because some of these people aren't planning, like, oh shit, I got an event next Saturday, and what can I get in the time frame?
There's a vast majority, surprisingly, that come, oh shoot, even hey, my boss told me I was supposed to do this last week and I'm behind the ball, can you help me? It's like, of course, we got you.
Right. And that earns your loyalty. So the other thing I wanted to touch on is, a lot of your sources are for product, not all, but I would imagine a lot are offshore. How do you navigate that during the pandemic? How do you navigate that when there's threats of tariffs and such?
Yeah, that's a good one. And yeah, you're right. At some level, pretty much all of our products are sourced overseas, if not fully. So, like a Yeti mug, or, this is, or Hydro Flask. This is produced overseas, and then we'll engrave it stateside. So there's decoration that happens stateside, but the source of the product is almost always comes from China, Bangladesh, Vietnam, Thailand. Those are the big ones. So COVID was a fun one. I mean, we saw production, or just getting it to us was a headache. The port bottleneck, and all of a sudden it went from we were doing $1,000 for a container ship, it went to $10,000. So, and it took 3 times as long to get it. So,
Well, you could look on a satellite and see all the ships circling around Los Angeles's port, 100 miles offshore, just sitting there. Like you could send a bunch of boats out, right? And give me 50 of those Yetis so I could get an order filled.
Exactly. My customer's mad.
Could have been a side gig if we could have figured out a way to offload boats like they do in the drug cartel in Miami. So, I mean, did you like? How do you get that? Because that is effectively a tariff, right? Because of the timing of it, the prices go up, and they can't get the containers back, and the boats take forever. You can't pass all of those costs along to your customers, so you're taking it in the shorts on margin plus the time waiting. So, were you on the phone calling customers and saying, "Hey, the stuff you're going to want for Christmas, it's August. Let's talk about Christmas," right?
Yeah, there was probably a 90-day span when that was the most of our phone calls. We would huddle every morning and go, we got this order, this order, this order, this order, this order. I'll take this, you'll take this. We got to get on the phone and tell them what's going on, and just being honest at the end of the day. We did lose some, business during that time. It was inevitable, but playing damage control we tried to do, and then a lot of it
but they couldn't go around the corner and get it either, right? Because everybody was in the same boat, so to speak. Excuse the pun.
Yeah, no pun intended. And we switched most everything to air freight during that time too, so you're paying more, but you get it in 5 days, and that's what were forced to do a lot, and just eat cost, because at the end of the day, they're like, you want to have a good LTV, a lifetime value customer that keeps coming back. I'd rather have that than, lose margin on a few orders.
Yeah. So I think I like to ask this question from people from time to time. What do you see your competitor? What a mistake that you see your competitors doing that you guys learn from, and what's the biggest mistake a buyer makes when it comes to promotional materials? Could take that one first.
Great question. I love doing product research too, or competitor research, excuse me. I do that maybe twice every quarter. I'll go in our top competitors and fill out quote requests and call them and see what they're doing, see what the price is looking like, and it's always fun. The main thing that most of them lack is a personal touch. You fill in a quote request, you get an email, you're never going to call. You can tell that they're sourcing their salespeople from the Philippines or somewhere in there, and they're just lacking a total personal touch. And that's where I think we excel, because you can always call us and we're here stateside. Other things, as far as the customer goes, you see a lot of customers bite on price. We're not the cheapest vendor for any of our products, but quality, customer service, production time vastly beats the other ones. So we see that a lot. People, when we look at the data at the end of the month, you can see, we try to get a good idea of why some of our lost deals, and pricing, or going with the competitor due to price is a chunk of it.
Yeah, well, but that's okay, right? Because that person who's shopping, they're going to keep shopping. It's not really your ideal customer. So if somebody comes, like, to get a buyer to be ready to buy promotional materials, right? I told you a story before we started about my business cards, right? My business card is almost $4 a pop. But it creates an image. It gives a wow effect. And if you care about your brand, how should somebody think about representing promotional materials as it relates to a brand where they're trying to maintain a certain status, or getting you to think differently about your brand? How do they approach the promotional piece?
Yeah, no, that's a great question, especially with apparel and gear. team gear, outfitting your team. You don't want to, and kind of how you do one thing is how you do everything. Because if you go to Walmart, they're wearing a very, very inexpensive polo that is oversized and doesn't look right. And that's their value behind their business is they're cheap. So the employees look cheap. They get labeled as cheap. And it's the same with any brand. I mean, we do a fair amount of construction companies, and they have like it's an ego thing for those guys. They want the coolest hats for their crew. They want the Carhartt sweaters for them. They want Carhartt vests. They want the cool stuff. So I always try to mention that to customers and feel them out. You know, how you want things, how you do everything, and how you want your brand to be represented. It trickles down even to team gear, even to promotional products. Like you said, business cards, huge. I mean, we did some cool keychains of a 3D. They were so cool, and they weren't a ton more. I mean, they could have done cents instead. This one was 80 cents, and I mean, they mentioned us too after their event. Flying off the shelves as a giveaway.
Yeah, people want them, right? So, I mean, I think making sure that whatever you're doing, whatever you're putting your brand on, it represents of your brand. I remember I was at a meeting with the client, and the guy was like, I just want some really cheap T-shirts. We're doing a 5K, and I just want them to be cheap. They're only going to wear them once or twice. And they're like, can do that, not a problem, right? Absolutely. But is that really what you want? And the guy looked at me and goes, what do you mean? And I'm like, your brand is on there and all those sponsors are on there. So do you want to spend $2.25 or do you want to spend, $3.10 to get something just that you can wash it and it doesn't fall apart and the brands are still there?
I love to give customers like, hey, here's for 20% more, 50% more, you're going to get a 10x better product. So yeah, it's so true.
Yeah, that's one of the things I've seen happen. Interesting. I'm glad that you're trying to help somebody make the right decision and not base it on pennies, but do it on the brand, which is what I think people need to be focused on. So, you've shared some information here. You got people thinking a little bit differently about promotional products. What's the best way for them to reach out to you? The website or someplace else?
Yeah, exactly. Just our website's montereycompany.com. Feel free you can always reach us there. You can always call us there. My LinkedIn, Eric Turney is my LinkedIn. No, you can always reach. I love chatting with people on LinkedIn. Those are the two main ones. I mean, we do have YouTube, a pretty decent YouTube channel too, which has informational videos on all of our products. So cool branded merch it's really fun. I have a blast doing this. Never thought I would. I'm far from physical therapy for sure.
Absolutely. You're not touching people as much as this. All the social and the website stuff will be in the show notes, folks. So you can just take a peek there and click on them and reach out to Eric. Last question, Eric. Past or present, any relationship with cigars?
Yeah. So I always have my birthday, typical weddings. My wife hates cigars. She hates the smell. I used to indulge a lot more. But as I've gotten older and the kids, and I've just done them for a beer called the Cigar Chapel. And I like going in there and picking their brain and finding like a nice $20, $30, $40 cigar that I can just enjoy, on special occasions. So.
Yeah, if you're not smoking every day, then you want that special thing when you are going to spend some time with it. And it's usually, is that solitude or social when you do that?
Solitude. Yep. It's just me, hanging out. I like it. Yeah, that's my time.
Awesome. All right. I appreciate it. Folks, if you're in the market for some promotional materials and you're looking to maybe upgrade your appearance and elevate your brand, give Eric a call. Check him out on YouTube and the website. Appreciate it, Eric. Thank you much
Yeah.
for your time. And we'll see you down the road. Appreciate it.
Awesome. Thanks for having me, Walter.